chat where we believe
every chat should come with a snack. I'm Courtney with a K.
And I am Pinelli.
Yay, we're back. Second episode.
And this week we're going to be snacking and chatting per usual. So let's get into our snack. This week we're doing these trusty brownies.
Mini brownies. Provide mini
fun.
Mini fun.
Mini happiness. So, these brownies can be found at any local grocery store. I call these a sleeper snack because usually when I take them somewhere, nobody wants them. They look kind of crusty, not gonna lie, but they are delicious.
They are. They're very, I don't like the word moist, but they're very moist.
I hate that word too.
But they are. I mean, what else do you say for it?
I don't know. They're delicious though. And homemade lemonade because
lemonade's always better at home.
Right? Delicious in the summer. I love the lemonade. So, this week, we're talking about the Real Housewives of Potomac again. We're going to be chatting with you about episodes 3 and 4. So, I mean, we can get into that if you're ready. Got a little brownie? Is that good, huh? This might not be a automatic chatty snack. Alright, I'll start off. So, episode 3 is really, in my opinion, a build-up of what I think is going to be one of the main focal points of the season. So, in my opinion, the shot word heard around the world on this episode, this season of The Real Housewives of Potomac is Michael and these felony assault allegations where apparently he touched somebody's fanny or whatever he touched that did not want to be touched. And it feels like this episode is really like maybe the starting point of where people on the cast had suspicions that he liked to fill up menses.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, like that's the overarching theme of what's going on. And it starts out episode 3 as like, this is what happened earlier today, and then, or earlier, and it showed, like, excuse me, this is what's happening right now, and then earlier, they go back to what's happening, or whatever, until we get up to the booty gate thing.
And so we'll do it kind of like we always do with the character who gave you the most tea, or the housewife, and of course that's going to be Ashley, because Michael is her husband. And so, like she said, we start out the episode was sort of a flashback, so we start at like the most damning part, and then we kind of work back to how we got there. So we kind of start out with hearing Michael and seeing him fill up some guy, right? Big, tall guy. He's filling on his muscles. Black. Yeah, because I think Michael got a type.
He like black man. I think he wishes that Ashley was a black man.
Yeah, so I do too. So he's filling up on this guy, telling him how great his muscles are, and then we flash back to a week earlier. So, week earlier, we're at Michael and Ashley's house. Ashley is throwing a birthday party for her uncle.
Uncle Lump.
Is that really his name?
That's what Uncle Lump. I don't know his real name.
I thought you were trying to make a funny joke. But anyway, I guess Uncle Lump's birthday. We all got a family member who don't have a real name. Cousin Mookie, Pookie,
Pooh,
Peach. Is that a thing? No,
I've never heard
of. But anyway, they're planning Uncle Lump's birthday party, and that's where it all goes down. So Ashley's family kind of has like this not so great relationship with Michael in past seasons. So we see her mom coming over, Michael and her mom hugging it out. Don't know why they're hugging it out. It just looks like a greeting, but apparently this never happens with Michael and Ashley's mom. So Ashley gets like really emotional about it.
And she starts crying, and she's like, this is the first time you guys have hugged in a really long time. Oh my God.
And we were like, is she already pregnant?
I was like, is she already pregnant?
This is weird.
Because I don't know why you would be crying like that. I mean, I know that they have not had the most positive relationship, especially last season, but I thought we were doing a bit much with it.
So Ashley's mom and her wig are over to say hello.
Yes, and the wig looks like one of my old dolls.
It ain't good.
Hair.
It ain't.
It's bad.
So
I'm trying to think what else. Oh, And Ashley also is telling her mom about her new diet, and she's talking about how she's no longer drinking. And we just do basically during this whole episode, we do a count up of how many times Ashley says she's not drinking. But each time she says she's not drinking, she has some type of alcoholic beverage that she's drinking. So
she's not drinking because I guess she's trying to create this ideal condition for the womb. Because she's had a miscarriage previously. I completely understand. I don't really know the details surrounding that. But I will say that just looking at their age difference, I know that men can produce viable sperm up to a really, really old age. But right. I really don't know if Ashley is the one who has the issue here.
And if she said that she had the one with the issue, I don't remember. I don't know if
I don't remember that. Or maybe she said it. So she's really, really trying to create this healthy area for the baby to come to be, but she getting down with it. I mean, she's drinking in almost every scene.
Exactly. And every time she says, I'm going to stop drinking, but I'm going to, drink this Corona, take this shot.
It's a lot of Coronas.
A lot of Coronas.
So anyway,
Ashley and Candace go out, and this makes me excited because last week I said what? I like when the younger girls go out and they hang out. So I was like, ooh, is this going to be a rekindling of a friendship between Ashley and Candace? I don't know, because the whole thing was very awkward.
It was awkward, and I think we quickly realized that Ashley and Candace really don't like each other.
Yeah, but it was a lot of like what my mom calls nice nasty.
It was a lot of nice nasty, and I will say this. I think that at least what I can see of Candace's personality on this show thus far is that she is really, really good with the code switch, right? She's been in that pageant world. She sort of knows how to navigate. She knows how to put on that voice and that face. But underneath it all, she seems very much like my sister, your sister, our sister. That's clearly not Ashley's personality. And so while the whole conversation seems nice, nasty, in my opinion, it also seems like she's got that work voice on the whole time she's talking to Ashley.
Yeah.
Like, oh, girl, this is so cool.
And the only thing that she said that they could like relate about was, oh, we were both in pageants or whatever. I don't know.
And they both sing poorly. They can relate.
They can relate because the singing is awful. But yeah, so the whole lunch was just very strange, and I kind of was cringing during it. So
yeah, and so fast forward back to kind of Ashley's Michael drama. Even though she gives us the most by way of Michael, Ashley, at least from what we are made to believe, is the audience is oblivious to everything that is going on with her husband. So they're having this party. Giselle comes, Robin comes, Candace and her husband come, and Monique comes. No, Monique doesn't come. She can't drink. That might be it for the girls, right? Yeah. Karen doesn't come. She's notably absent. She doesn't like Ashley. She makes it clear she doesn't like Ashley. But they're getting really, really wasted. And every time you see Michael, he's telling Robin how much he loves Juan. Like, in a creepy way. Like, it's one thing to say, oh, your husband's my bro. But it's like, I really love him.
Juan.
I really, really love him. And then we get to this point where Robin says that she remembers saying he would bleep somebody's bleep. So he's saying he would fillet some male on the cast. And Candace also says she heard this, and clearly it has something to do with Robin. And Robin has like this visceral reaction to it, but nobody will tell us who it is. We surmise that it is Juan.
I think it's Juan.
Right? I believe it's Juan. Who else would it be?
Well, you said it might be Chris, Candace's husband, Chris.
Yeah, because Candace seemed to have heard it too, but Candace wasn't upset enough. And Candace a little extra, so I think she would have been mad.
Yeah.
So that is really Ashley's story arc. Her husband is walking around telling who he would give a blowy to, and she doesn't know a thing about it.
And everybody's uncomfortable.
I'm uncomfortable.
But they're like, so Robin and Candace are saying that they want to just put it behind them and not make it a big deal.
So they don't even talk about it with each other, but they do talk about it with us, which leads me to believe that they don't want to put it behind them, because why would you tell America then?
Right.
If you don't keep it to yourself, keep it to yourself.
Exactly. So next would be, I guess, Giselle.
Yeah, Giselle had some kind of interesting stuff going on. She's on like a Friends Forgive Me tour, right? Public apology tour for Giselle. Her therapist is telling her, because she's still seeing the therapist that she was seeing with Sherman. That's his name, right? I got it right. Y'all know I don't know nobody's name, but Sherman. She was seeing this therapist with Sherman.
His basement therapist.
It's the side of his house. It looks janky, but I mean, he's giving her advice. I really don't know how I feel about it, but I'm also not a therapist. I didn't agree with the advice, right?
No, I didn't agree.
Apparently, she dates these men and she discards them very fast because she's in there telling him, like, Sherman said he was going to take me to this party. He didn't take me. I don't want to be with him anymore. And the therapist is like, but you break up with everybody. Like, maybe you need to do some soul searching, look within yourself and see why you do this. But he also tells her that she needs some men relationships. Didn't he tell her that? Because I feel like he told her that. Because why else would she be apologizing to these people?
I don't remember her saying that. I think she's just saying that she needs to not be so quick to, like, discard people. That's the only part I remember.
Y'all see me over here making up stuff. She ain't even said nothing.
But what I didn't like about what the therapist said was, like, okay, I do get that she does dismiss and trash a lot of her relationships. Okay, I get it. But this whole thing with Sherman, like, to me, it was almost like he's saying, like, oh, stick around for some more BS. Like,
it did feel that way. And I will also say this. We know that these reality shows are thinly veiled reality, so there's a bit of scripting in there and a bit of prompts from producers. I will say that I think perhaps this public apology tour was a way for us to be reintroduced to Katie. Can we say that on this show? We're allowed to say that?
What do you mean?
We can say that it's scripted. Reality is scripted, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I feel like it was a way for us to be reintroduced to Katie. Cause
I don't want to be reintroduced to Katie. I'm not quite sure why Katie is back on.
Oh, and in case you didn't know, you shouldn't be watching this if you don't know, but Katie, who was on season 1, right?
Season 1.
Was reintroduced to us this episode.
Katie in season 1 was a socialite. She knew everybody. She had all of these charity events and was very well known and, you know, always dressed nicely. Everything was about, you know, philanthropy and all that stuff. But now I don't know what this Katie is.
I will say that even on season 1, she was like just below the surface. You could tell she was like,
I mean, she was a hot mess.
Recognized game.
Don't get me wrong. Katie was a hot mess with the man that she was her fiance, and then it wasn't the father of her kids, and he acted like he didn't really even want to have the children most of the time. Like, it was just a whole strange thing. And then I know even after the show went off and she was no longer on there, it was still more Katie drama with, like, her kids being taken or something, allegedly. I don't know.
But I didn't miss Katie.
I felt like we saw Katie in season 1, and that's all we needed to see. Like, we got it. We don't need it anymore. So anyway, Giselle is like, oh, I'm going to meet Katie for lunch. And I was very confused because I was like, I don't really remember Katie and Giselle being BFFs. But I guess they're going to be BFFs for now because Katie needed to come back on the show and she had to talk to somebody.
And then Katie shows up with this scarf
looking
thing
like
on
Mary
her
of Mary
It's
Magdalene.
not like tied under her chin or anything. It's just laying there. And at first I thought she had a pin to her head, but she did not.
She did not.
She said she needed her hair done, but most of us wear a hat when we need our hair done.
I felt like that was just making my eye go to your hair.
It was bad.
It was really not cute.
Yeah, I don't know. And yeah, no.
Yeah.
So then Giselle apologizes to Karen, right? Yeah, she goes to Karen's house. Karen stages her.
Yeah,
Karen and Giselle, I like when they're friends because they are shady.
They have the shadiest friendship ever, but it is hilarious.
I think it is so funny. So she goes over, and I mean, there's really nothing there. They just kind of chat. Karen won't really show her the house.
Giselle's trying to see the whole house, and Karen is not having it.
So Giselle's convinced that Karen doesn't live in the whole house.
She's talking about she only lives in the basement of the house. Karen lives in that whole house. Karen is just not for y'all coming in her house.
Girl, we've seen the house.
To run back and go tell it.
The house. She got receipts. I told y'all last week. Karen got receipts. She lives there. So that was pretty much it for Giselle, right?
Well, no.
Oh, she was journaling.
No, Giselle was journaling, and also she was talking to her children. She had that moment with her kids, and she had finally told her children that she was no longer with Sherman.
Sorry, more snacks.
It's it's a snatch game. She was no longer with Sherman. So her kids seem to be like kind of disappointed with the fact that Sherman was no longer around. And that's understandable because apparently they really did care for Sherman. They really did like him. And he seemed to really like them, which is awesome. But I feel like as a mom and as a grown woman, you have to not only protect your heart, but you have to protect the heart of your children. And if he's just not good for you, then he's not good for them, ultimately. You know what I mean? You can't do this, I'm here, I'm one foot in and 1 foot out, and I have 3 girls who know what is going on. Like, they are watching Giselle very closely, and, you know, they're starting to have an opinion on the things and the people that their mother is dealing with.
And not that your kids are not impressionable, but her children are preteens and teenage girls, so they're very impressionable.
Exactly.
This is when girls meet boys or girls, whoever their significant others are going to be.
Right, and she's showing them how someone should treat them. And if she sticks around for the foolishness that is Sherman, they're going to think that that's okay.
And they're also under the impression that her happiness is tied to her relationship status.
Right, because, I mean, kind of in a way, that's kind of how it looks.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that she, and I get Giselle wanting to be in a relationship. I mean, that's totally fine. But, and I don't know if that's just the way that Bravo paints her or if that's just what it is. But anyway, Giselle, move on from Sherman. I think you're doing the right thing. And I love the way that she explained that to her girls. She had that time and she had that moment to sit down and talk with them about why she was no longer with Sherman and just check in with them on their thoughts. I think that's important because it's definitely a teachable moment.
And girl, I also feel like they're trying to pull a Kenny Moore on you and make it seem like you ain't got no man. I don't believe it.
That's true. So next, we're Karen.
I thought Candace had a little more. No.
Oh, Candace. Yeah. Okay.
Candace is still crying about her mama.
Surprise! Not.
Candace is getting on my nerves. Okay?
I'm tired of this crying.
I'm confused about her husband's name is Chris, right?
Yes.
Oh my God! More point. I remember the name. Okay.
Everybody on this show who is a man essentially has the same name, so it's really not that.
Chris, Brandon, Mike. One is one.
Yeah.
But basically, she feels like she's a married woman. And there need to be boundaries set for her house that she lives in that her mama pays for because she wants to walk around and get it in the kitchen is what it sounds like to me. But you can't get it in the kitchen when you don't pay your mama
got
bills.
a key.
You just can't. And Giselle says she needs to get a job, and I believe her. So they FaceTime and they talk about respect. And I understand that. I completely believe that dynamics are skewed in some parent and child relationships, and parents, especially parents from the old school, who are kind of set in their ways, don't believe that there is a certain level of respect that they should have for their children. They're always going to see their children as children. But it is much easier to control your relationship with toxic family members when you are self-sufficient.
Right.
So if she were self-sufficient, she'd be able to control the way in which she interacts with her mother. She would be able to demand a certain level of respect while still being respectful. And she would be able to set boundaries and put distance in between herself. But she got an old school mama who also is probably one of those moms who offers to pay for things, but does throw it up in your face. You know? And so you pick your battles. You're either going to deal with this lady and all her crap, or you're going to go get a job because you're 30, and that's what 30-year-olds should do. If Candace were a man, I think that people would frown upon the way that she lives.
I think Candace and Chris just need to go out here and get them a little, whatever they can afford, a little 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, whatever apartment, townhouse that may not be the top of the top, and save up in their own space, because when it's your own space, it really doesn't matter.
But they're also independently affluent, so I can't even imagine. Their downgrade is probably like amazing to most of us. So
true.
Ain't no shame in going out here and getting it. There is shame in being 30 and living in your mother's house. And I don't know many gentlemen Chris's age who would be comfortable with that. But I do know that they split bills. But it doesn't sound like it's an even split because they're trying to save money.
Right. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm not counting their money, but I don't know what type of child support and all that Chris has got going on and what type of credit situation they're in. I'm just saying that it is possible for them to go get something that is their own and not have to deal with Dorothy.
And see, what I was going to say to you, Candace, ties right into your mama's name. This is not the Golden Girls, and you don't need your mama as a roommate. Her name is Dorothy.
Shut up.
All right.
So, yeah, that was basically all Candace.
And Candace heard the tea about Michael, so that's, she's carrying that little bone.
And so next is Karen.
Mm-hmm.
So on this episode, we see Karen in her first scene. She is going to go look for the headstones for her parents who are recently deceased. Both of them, I think they both died within 7 months of each other, so that's really sad. So as we said, that Karen is dealing with a lot and is going through a lot. So we see her and Ray going to pick out headstones, and it's just like a little sentimental moment that Karen is having, and she's just, reminiscing on time with her parents. And then she says that she hopes that she has 20 more years with Ray, and I don't know that she's gonna have 20 more years with Ray.
I don't know that you're gonna have 1 year. Ray is old, Karen.
Ray
He's elderly.
At any moment he might. I hope not. But
I hope not. But Karen,
Ray,
let's be logical and realistic.
not 20 years.
Also, on this episode, a little whimsy for Karen. We find out that she did take her implants out.
Oh yeah, she did, but she did not want to admit on last season's reunion. But she did say
She looks good though.
She did say, and that's what we forgot in the whole Giselle thing when she went to the house. There's secrets to one another to see if they could trust each other. They gave each other secrets, and
Giselle nares her hoo-ha.
Oh,
what a secret!
Alert!
Because she gets hair bumps if she shaves. Oh, you're black, Giselle. Great.
You're a woman. Like what?
Does everybody do that?
I would think so. A hair bump is a hair bump. I
thought
don't think
it
it
was like
knows any color.
I thought that was like a 4C thing.
Okay. I don't think Giselle has 4C hair.
She might get out there.
Okay, this is too much.
And, Karen said she took out her implants, and when she lays down,
her boobs go east and west. Child, mine too. Sure do.
Solidarity, Karen. We're with you.
We are with you.
Yep.
But yeah,
but if I can get mine fixed, I ain't nothing doing it.
Exactly. Those were their little secrets to each other. I thought the secrets were lame because
that was not a secret. They're not emotionally invested. So that was it for Karen. And then we move on to Monique. Nothing really happened there. She's just pregnant.
Yep, Monique's pregnant and hanging out with her kids.
So that was it for episode 3. And in episode 4, we find ourselves. Oh no, we didn't talk about Robin.
Oh, I always forget about Robin.
Let me tell you a story about Robin. Robin seems very nice. Robin does not seem like the type of person you trust with any sort of investment. As we learned last season, she done lost that money before, and now she is doing real estate, and she has apparently had this home under contract for a year, and it looks like she's just giving this contractor fella money.
Jose was in there. I don't know what Jose was in there doing. Nothing.
What do you call a house with no walls? I don't call that much nothing.
Exactly.
Right. So yeah. So that's it for this episode. That really is it for this episode. In episode 4, which is entitled "The Wig Easy," and you know what? I think that they called it that because Karen's wig. I really do.
Entitled the what?
Wig Easy. It's called The Wig Easy.
Oh, like The Wig Easy. I'm dead. I didn't even see that.
But anyway, the girls are gearing up for a girls' trip to NOLA. That's the main premise of the episode. We'll go through each character. So, who do you think gave us the most this episode?
I would say. I don't even know.
Okay, so I'll say what I think. I think that this episode was largely centered around Giselle. She's on this public apology tour, like we said on the last episode. I guess at the party last episode, the part that we didn't see, because, you know, there's always a part we didn't see that they bring back up out of nowhere when we didn't ask for it later. She tells everybody, my dad's turning 80 and I really need to spend more time with my parents. It almost seems like she's sentimental because of what's going on with Karen. And I really just want to go visit my dad. So everybody come to New Orleans. It's that Bravo sponsored trip that happens every season. I'm sure there will be one out of the country, but you know there's always
one.
Yep. So they're going to New Orleans. She asked everybody. They all agree to come. So Giselle is just gearing up for this trip. She's a good host. It looks pretty nice. So that's kind of what happens with Giselle this episode.
I think that's the majority of what happens with everybody this episode. They're getting ready for this trip, this gal's trip.
The drama seems like it's gonna go down
on the trip,
like next episode. And
because honestly, these first 4 episodes have been kind of dry to me.
I will say that Katie is going on this trip with them. Katie sort of offended Candace the episode before. Because in her introduction, she says if she'd known Candace earlier, she would have told her not to get married, which I just think
it's not something you say to a newlywed.
I just think Katie is crazy as hell. I do. She looks
Katie's
crazy.
She's bitter. I don't know what she is wearing when they get ready to board on this trip to New Orleans. She's got on like this dress you might throw on when you get out get out the pool.
That's a cover up.
With the bra and these flip flops and this wrap.
Badu wrap.
It's bad. It's real bad.
It's not
They look
good.
like they found Katie somewhere. And then Katie is also weirdly the person who is getting to stay in the
presidential
suite with Giselle.
We're trying to figure out if Katie is poor and that's why she's back from
I'm just not understanding why Giselle would pick Katie. Pick Robin.
Oh, Robin's late per usual. But that's really it with Robin. Candace is going. She's kind of upset that she has to leave her new husband so soon, which I'm a newlywed, y'all, but I kind of was more like that before we were married. So they get on the trip. I believe that they called this episode The Wig Easy, as I said at the beginning, because Karen has these braids.
The wig is braided, y'all. Karen did not go and get braids. And
I can't even talk about it.
And it was not a braided wig. It was a wig that Karen braided.
It looks like a full lace wig, so the unit, it should all look like scalp, but it looks like somebody else's scalp.
It looks like...
Has anybody been on Facebook and seen the wigs for the DeBarge movie?
No.
That's coming out on TV One?
No.
This wig looked like it belonged in that movie. Google it. Google it.
It's really bad. Like, really. I can't believe
I'm going to show you these DeBarge wigs and this makeup when we get off. You're going to be like, this is a joke.
Well, maybe they was having Karen debut some of their stuff because that was...
And you know, I was so disappointed because Karen's wigs has been
doing
kids
good
across the board this season. Karen has had some wig trouble in the past.
And I think that this season she was like, y'all not gonna catch me slipping.
Until she put this...
And
we only know this because Monique is shady and she goes, my wigs are attached to my hair. Karen's wigs are attached to her. Oh, yeah. Karen's braids are attached to her
wig. It was a mess. And that is not the only reason we knew. We knew as soon as we saw that pan to her head.
I'll be honest with you.
You didn't know?
No, I was just like, those are really bad. What's wrong? What's wrong?
Oh, they're so bad. But anyway, that episode kind of, like I said, is mainly about New Orleans. Nothing really happens this first part of New Orleans until
we go to this nice cooking school and they just had to show out.
Right. And that really annoyed me because I just feel like, why Giselle always got to do this at dinner?
Housewives always think that the best time to talk to somebody about a problem is there are 3 factors in front of everyone at a gathering that is dinner or a party. Right? Those 3 things. I don't want to talk to anyone while I'm eating about anything important. I want to eat my food. And maybe I place too much emphasis on food. But if you ruin my meal, we really gonna have something to talk about, right? That's when we fighting.
Exactly. So Giselle decides to bring up why
Karen didn't tell her. Oh, okay. So that is a part of the beginning of this episode that we missed. So Karen and Giselle go to, is it BeautyCon? What kind of festival, convention?
Ubiquitous.
Ubiquitous, melancholy. They go to Ubiquitous, which is like a beauty vendors fair sort of thing. And you know, Giselle is popping. She's got a makeup line with Erica Lyles in Target.
I don't think. Wait, is Giselle with Erica Lyles? Is that
Erica Lyles is her business partner.
Oh.
Yeah. So they've got this Every Hue Beauty. It's doing very well. And she basically introduces Karen to her plug. And remember those conversations that happened on an early episode that we don't see, that I told you about? They always pan it back to when nobody asked for it. Well, we have a flashback to when Giselle went to Mrs. Huger's home, and Mrs. Huger wouldn't tell her a darn thing about anything. And she's asking Karen what's up with the fragrance launch for La Dame. And Karen is like, oh, there's really nothing to tell. We're in production now, but you'll be the first to know when I know something. But when Karen meets the plug, she's like, oh, we're ready to go.
She got
fragrance.
Answers. Every question that lady asked her, she got answers.
The fragrance is $79.99. We got a roll out for $19.99. And I'm doing the House of Huger, so we'll have candles and sheets.
And sheets.
Ask Giselle. She know all about it. And Giselle is like, ain't nobody told me nothing. Nothing.
No, she don't know. So Karen tried it with that, but...
And that's what Giselle brings up at this dinner.
Why are we talking about this at the dinner?
Can you not call somebody on the phone? I know that don't make for good TV, but these people, it requires too much suspension of disbelief to believe that these people are that out of touch with just like common courtesy and have no emotional intelligence, right? Like,
but even after you do all that, Giselle, to get back in Karen's good graces and bake cookies and ride out to her house and do all, like, why would you decide, now that we are finally back on decent terms, we still kind of fake friends, but we trying to make it, why are we gonna do this right now?
And I'll be honest with you, I would not be mad about this. Not as mad as Karen was, but we know that Karen is extra. Dramatic. So she knew, and I'm dramatic, right? But not that dramatic. She knew how this lady was gonna take this.
Yeah.
Don't ruin my daggone dinner. You done brought me to this cooking school, and you gonna ruin it with this conversation?
Did she finish her dinner? I would hope so.
I would never leave somewhere without my dinner. But Karen did.
I would at least box my food
I'm going to tell you something. You can't make me lose my appetite, honey. I need my bag. My dramatic exit is going to be with a box. Excuse me, can I get a box? I need to go. She left without the food. I get so sick of these people on TV like, walking off without their food.
Please don't leave. Karen,
come back. Come back, Karen. Karen was gone.
And Karen left.
Yeah, she left. And that's how we leave the episode. Karen is done.
Karen is over everybody's foolishness, and she's talking about how she feels like it might be too soon to interact with these ladies. But, I mean...
Karen is going through some stuff, but I'll be honest, that was petty.
It was.
The whole thing was petty.
Karen could have just simply just said, you know what? I do what I want. Like, that's basically all she had to say. She does not owe Giselle that. Giselle is not PR, a PR person. She doesn't, she might have the ties, but she had the answers for who the answers needed to go to. She ain't got to tell Giselle she don't want to.
I just think it's funny how Giselle is making it seem like Karen withheld information in a way that she doesn't regularly do it, right? Karen keeps things from y'all all the time.
All the time.
That's the first thing. But y'all set up in Karen's house and pretty much went back and forth about information that was too personal, and you were going to keep it close to the chest. She asked you about you and Sherman, which honestly was none of her business, and I'm certain she was trying to be messy. You can tell from her confessional. And you told her, I just don't think I need to be discussing that with you right now.
So
that's
same
her
thing.
friend. And it's great that you are a straight shooter, right? It's good to be that real.
Right.
But we know that Karen is not that type of person.
Right.
She's not a straight shooter. She's not that real. She's shady, and you know this about her because you've been friends with her for a decade. So you knew if she was already, she didn't even want you to see her shoe closet. So what makes you think she would tell you anything about her business?
Exactly.
And Karen even says it. That's business. It's business. So you have an established brand, and since y'all are kind of frenemies right now, I don't know how much I would tell you about my fragrance business either, because you honestly have the means and the platform, and you already have the following with your line to just roll something out in the Target.
Exactly.
You do.
So,
I don't think you would do that. But
I don't think that Karen owed that information to you, just like you didn't owe the information about Sherman to her. So I don't really know why this is that big of a deal, but you know.
But I think that like wraps up this episode. You think so?
Yeah, that wraps up this episode. That wraps up, you know, everything.
It's
so
time
it's
for
time
our-
for 3 hearts.
I did that like 5 times. But
Okay, it's just 3.
Oh.
Okay, I'm not gonna do it.
Thought it was cool.
You look like a really lame boy band. Stop. What are your 3 hearts?
Oh, okay. So I love the shade that Giselle and Karen threw at each other in Karen's house. It was just like a back and forth, almost like a volleyball of just insults. It was funny to me. I loved Giselle's look in episode 3 for Michael's party.
Oh, it was
No, Uncle Lump's party.
Uncle Lump.
Mike. Why are you trying to make it his party? Michael's outfit was so obnoxious. I thought it was his outfit, right? Because who does that? It was
It
obnoxious.
was so bad.
And thirdly, I loved Candace's little comments this episode
You
too.
did say you
Well,
loved
these
the
2
evidence.
episodes, you know, she was like, "Are you trying to have a baby or a corona?" Good, Candace. I feel you, girl. Make it make sense, because while it is not Candace's business what Ashley drinks,
Then
Ashley,
stop saying it. Stop running around
right?
telling
Ashley
me
is
that.
volunteering her business. So yeah, I'm with Candace, and I think she was pretty funny.
Yeah. Okay, so my 3 hearts are, my first heart is, let me think. I really loved the part or the scene when Karen and Ray go to the nursing home. I like that because it was just sentimental, and I just love how Ray is always there for Karen. Like,
They went to a nurse
I'm
home.
not the funeral. I mean, the part where they go look for the headstone.
Like she about to put him in
No, when they go look for the headstones.
Oh.
That part was sentimental. I don't know why I said nursing home. Sorry. Then my second heart is, I can't remember if it's on episode 3 or 4, when they're at, it's a small snippet with Monique and her, I think her brother is Hank, who watches, she like works for her and watches their kids.
Is that her brother?
I'm pretty sure Hank is her brother. I'm pretty sure. And apparently her daughter Milani was not wanting to do something. He told her no, and she was hitting him. And then she also sat on Monique's lap and farted. That little girl is funny. I farted. Excuse me, I farted. Yeah, so that was really cute. Her kids are super cute. And then my third heart is probably the conversation that Candace and Robin had about the night before everything that happened with Mike saying that he might want to, you know, give a little something to Juan. So, well, we're guessing that it's Juan. It could be somebody else, but I'm pretty much 99.9% sure that it's Juan.
And I'm pretty much 99% sure that I'm disgusting.
So,
and it's not because, it's just because it's Michael.
yeah,
right?
it's not, yeah, definitely.
It's Michael.
He's
Gross.
just
I don't
not.
want to hear about him wanting Ashley. I don't want to hear about him wanting Juan. I don't want to hear about him wanting anyone.
I don't think those people want to hear about it either. Maybe Ashley, but I'm pretty sure Juan would be grossed out because Michael's ill. But Anyway, that wraps up our second episode of the Snack Chat. We thank you so much for tuning in with us for a second week. Thank you to those who have already subscribed. If you have not subscribed, please click the bell down in the in the lower portion, and then also comment below. Tell us why can I not talk? Your 3 hearts for this week. We want to know what you're thinking. And any other comments that you have about the show, we would love to know your take on what happened in these 2 episodes. And we will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.